Hey, football fans, welcome back to another episode of Lions Latest, the show where we gather around and talk about the greatest team in the NFL, the Detroit Lions. I am your host, Bryan Hanes, and we have some updates and some new signings to talk about today, so let's jump straight into the video. Starting off, we are talking about a new signing that may give us a leg up against the Ravens, which we could definitely use. We have a new signing in Malik Cunningham to our practice squad as of September 16th to help simulate Lamar Jackson for the upcoming Monday Night Football game against his former team, which would be the Baltimore Ravens. Um, So Cunningham, who played quarterback at Louisville, same as Lamar, and spent time with the New England Patriots and Baltimore Ravens, is a versatile athlete known for his dual threat abilities. The Lions aim to utilize this to prepare for the defensive play against Lamar Jackson. Not saying this guy is going to be on the same level as Lamar and he's going to give us the exact simulation of Lamar Jackson in game, but both went to Louisville, both dual threats, both played for Baltimore. Good enough, I guess, right? And he could definitely give us some much needed help in some practice we're going to need before Lamar Jackson drops 80 rushing yards on us. Cunningham will be in the Lions practice squad, and his purpose is to primarily provide a realistic look at Lamar Jackson for the Lions defense before the Week 3 game against the Ravens. Cunningham is a dual threat athlete who played quarterback at Louisville and then transitioned to wide receiver for the Ravens just because of his speed. And his familiarity with the Ravens offense gives us kind of that extra help knowing the scheme, Lamar Jackson's tendencies, just stuff like that, right? And because he can simulate Lamar Jackson's plays, his dynamic background as a dual threat quarterback allows him to mimic those dynamic running, passing styles, which is a very valuable asset for our scout team because we know every year Lamar Jackson just knows how to beat us. Like he just has the magic against us every week. We'll have him finally dead to rights on a 3rd and 20 and he'll just run for 30 yards and nobody will be there to stop him. And it's hard to watch, guys. It is generally hard to watch. So I'm glad we're actually taking an extra step towards this game this year. And finally, his ability to play quarterback and wide receiver gives the Lions some flexibility now. You know, if we need to use him in a situation where we're down a receiver or maybe we need a backup quarterback, like we have him ready to go now. He just adds a little bit of extra depth as well as his knowledge and his ability to help us defensively. So I think this was a really smart pickup. I don't know that we'll actually see him get any playing time as a quarterback or a wide receiver, but just having him on the team as this knowledge piece now is going to be so huge for our defense. And I'm very excited that we're taking this matchup a little more seriously this year because the last few years it has been hard to watch. We're going to move on to our second topic. Let me know what you guys think about this signing. Is it just we're probably going to get rid of him after this week? Or do you guys think we should keep on to a guy like this who could give us more insight on dual threat quarterbacks, which tends to be our biggest kryptonite? So our next topic is what do the Lions need to beat the Ravens? So not just Lamar Jackson, but what does this team have to do in order to beat a better team? I mean, they're so good, and Lamar Jackson is just so good. So for the Lions to beat the Ravens in week 3, that we need to improve our defensive containment for the athletic quarterback, solidify their run defense, and convert more efficiently on 3rd downs, which we weren't doing super well against the Bears. Finally, we need to capitalize every scoring opportunity that we are given. So 3rd down conversions. The Lions converted just 4 of 10 3rd down attempts against the Bears despite the blowout win. And the Baltimore defense is more disciplined than Chicago's, so Detroit's going to have to improve on that 40% efficiency to sustain drives and control the clock all around. Interior offensive line play. We saw it improve a little bit against the Bears, which honestly led to our win, but there are still instances where quarterback Goff is facing interior pressure. The Ravens have a very strong interior line, which is going to give us a major test in this game. The Lions will need to continue showing their progress to protect Goff and create lanes for their rushing attack as well. Knowing that the Ravens have really good outside linebackers and their secondary is loaded, we're going to have to get the running game going and be very efficient with blocking in that secondary. And then finally, we need to maximize turnovers. Against the Bears, the Lions failed to score after forcing a fumble and a turnover on downs, though a later interception did lead to a touchdown. The Ravens' offense, though, is very much more explosive. So the Lions must convert every takeaway into points to get ahead in this game and to keep a controlled lead. So if we get a sack, if we get a fumble, we need to go turn that into a touchdown, or else it could come back biting us in the butt later in the game. Containing Lamar Jackson, that's a no-brainer, right? The Lions have brought Malik Cunningham in to simulate that, but that's not gonna all of a sudden give us the upper edge on Lamar Jackson. The highlights Detroit's focus on containing Jackson, who is known for his mobility and ability to make plays both inside and outside of the pocket, and he's done to us very many times. His ability to extend plays is frustrating for other fans who are not Ravens fans. We are going to have to be on him all game. I don't know if we're going to have to. We're probably going to have to throw a spy on him almost every play. So Jack Campbell, get ready to run, pal. But this is going to be a very tough matchup. And then we need to stop the run. The Lions' run defense has been fine. We struggled week 1, obviously, and we were good against the Bears. But now we are really getting tested against Derrick Henry. The Lions must prove that we can consistently stop the run to force the Ravens into third and long situations, which we know Lamar Jackson can get out of. But statistically, we get him in those third down situations, we have a better chance of coming out with a win, right? Derrick Henry is going to be a big test. People say it's easy to tackle him. They're wrong. It's going to be a tough matchup, and we're going to have to see what we can do against Derrick Henry, especially after he's coming off of a lesser game against the Browns. He's definitely going to be wanting to come back and get a lick back, so he's going to be playing with a little chip on his shoulder. And then finally, improving the pass rush without Marcus Davenport. This is going to be the big one. This kind of incorporates getting Lamar Jackson, stopping the run. This is everything, and it comes down to this. So Marcus Davenport is questionable for the game with a shoulder injury. If he is unable to play, then Al-Qadim Muhammad is expected to take a larger role, which I'm not too worried about. Detroit's pass rush was inconsistent against the Bears and will need to take up a bigger step against this offense. But Al-Qadim Muhammad was doing fine. He recorded a sack. He had a few pressures. I'm not too worried about that. I'm worried about that side of the rush versus Hutch. I'm not worried about Hutch. Not concerned about Hutch. Making sure we have consistency on this side of the line where Hutch will be freed up from a couple double teams every once in a while. This is what I'm most concerned about. We're going to have to really see him perform well because we knew this day was going to come. Marcus Davenport wasn't built to last. We're just going to have to see what Al-Qadim Muhammad does. And maybe he's a perfect fit and we found our guy. Who knows? That's what I think about that, though. We're going to move on to our third topic. It kind of goes into this a little bit. Goff. What do we need to do to beat the Ravens? Goff. Can he follow up the game he had against the Bears for the Ravens? Now, following up the kind of performance he had against the Bears is extremely difficult, borderline impossible. And his success in the next game is not guaranteed. But I think he's going to have to be a large part of the reason why we win this upcoming game. So against the Bears, he completed 23 of 28 passes, 82.1%. We've talked about these stats. 334 yards, threw 5 touchdowns, had 156 passer rating. He was electric. But historic efficiency, one advanced metric is defense adjusted yards above replacement, rated Goff's performance as the second best by a Lions quarterback since 1978. So repeating that is going to be extremely difficult. The offensive line improvement. After week 1 loss where we struggled, the offensive line had a significant better outing, which gave Goff clean pocket, helped fuel the offense, let him make reads to his players downfield. What's harder is that the road game, unlike the home game against the Bears where we had home team advantage, we had the fans, this is going to be tougher. It's Monday Night Football, and we're on the road against a team who's a Super Bowl contender, right? With a 2-time MVP, should have been 3-time. This is going to be a tough one. And the Lions will face a formidable Ravens defense, which historically Goff has struggled against. With 0 touchdowns and 3 interceptions in his 3 career starts against them, this does not give me huge expectations for what he's going to do. But he's going to play with a chip on his shoulder, right? He's got to know the stats, right? He knows what he's going into, and he knows what he's consistently failed with. So he's going to have to know he's going to have to play better, right? Finally, I think the new play caller, right? The new play caller is with Goff. We've seen it be rusty and we've seen it be really good. Now that we're on the road, I'm hoping it's not what it was against Green Bay. But they're going to have to really trust each other for this game and make sure they're making the correct plays with each other. John Morton's going to have to just cook up some good plays here, and Goff's going to have to execute them perfectly because fantasy analysts are saying Goff is also going to have a dip in his touchdown rate from last year. That game didn't really show it. This game definitely could show it. And Goff is definitely going to have to just go and be fantastic. Given the tougher matchup and the historical precedent, it is highly unlikely that Goff will replicate his near perfect game against the Bears. However, his stable presence with a potent group of weapons like he does in the Lions offense, it's well within reach. This game will be a far more meaningful measure of where the 2025 Lions offense truly stands, and we're just going to have to watch. I'm truly saying this is going to be the big test, and we're going to see where Goff stands, right? We've seen him do poorly against the Packers, bounce back and show him the same offense we saw last year against the Bears. Now that we have this high-level opponent who we've consistently struggled against, this is going to be the showing of where does the Lions offense really stand in the NFL right now? Are we actually what we're made of, or are we just beating up on teams with new coaches and mid-quarterbacks? We're just going to have to see what happens there. With that being said, we're going to move to our fourth and final topic. Just talking about some of the injuries before this week. Starting off with Davenport, we already mentioned, questionable because of a shoulder injury he suffered. He did suffer a ankle injury the same game, but he came back in. He is dealing with a shoulder injury. He's had multiple physicians giving him second opinions, and they'll know by the end of the week. Hopefully he comes back. Hopefully he comes back. We need that depth. We need that depth. And then Shane Zylstra placed on IR for an ankle injury. So there goes one of our tight ends. Still got Brock Wright. Still got Laporta. Not too worried about that, but he's one of our receiving tight ends, so having him ready to go at any point could be important. Hopefully you get better, Shane Zylstra. I really love the way you play, and I don't want you to be injured for that long. Finally, Sion Vaki is questionable, so I think our running back depth is fine, but I really want to see what Sion Vaki does this year on special teams, or just if he gets some touches at running back. I think he has tons of potential, high ceiling, just needs to develop, and obviously injuries are not helping him get anywhere. But those are injuries. And with that being said, we are out of time today here. Thank you so much for watching this episode of Lions Latest. If you made it to this point in the video, tell me down in the comments right now what you guys think is going to be the biggest struggle against the Ravens and what we are going to have to do better than we have done in the past to beat a team like that. And also let me know what you think about the Malik Cunningham signing. Yay, nay, get rid of him after this week, or is he going to be a very good piece for us to learn about scrambling quarterbacks and what we can do better to contain those, because that is our big weakness. Make sure you guys like, comment, subscribe, hit the bell so you never miss a single video here. Enjoy the rest of your day, and I will see you